Hi, I'm Joan Cartan Hansen. Welcome to our D4K web-only show. And joining me now to answer your questions about bears are Greg Lazinski and Evan O'Neill, regional conservation educators with the Idaho Department of Fish and Game. Gentlemen, thank you for being here.
Good to be here.
I appreciate it. Okay, let's go to your questions.
Hi, my name is Brady, and I go to Kamei Elementary in Kamei, Idaho. My question is, how do bears sleep all winter?
Great question, Brady. Yes, bears, when they go into their den, sometimes some are really good housekeepers, and they'll actually break boughs off of trees and take them into their den and make a little nest. But then they curl up into a very compact position, and their body temperature and their respiratory rate drops some, and they fall asleep, and they don't eat, they don't drink, they don't urinate or defecate for the entire time that they're in that den, which is kind of a neat trick. And they'll get up and move around, maybe readjust their body as they're sleeping in their den, just so that they don't get sores on parts of their body. But then they'll lay back down and sleep until Mother Nature tells them it's time to get up and go outside.
Jacoby would like to know, do bears have the same bones as humans?
Well, that's a great question, and oftentimes when a bear is skinned out, people will see this carcass in the wood or a skeleton and actually think it's a human, because bears do look quite a bit like people, and a lot of the early religions that were out there talked about the bear actually being the first creation that was there that actually taught humans, and a lot of that comes from the fact that you can see a bear, say, walk on its hind feet. They are constructed similar in that manner. So again, there's a lot of similarities as far as the way we're put together is the skeleton, and of course the bones are made of the same material as our bones. So they may be a lot thicker in places, which gives them a lot more strength than our bones, but again, same basic materials.
Now, you have a couple of skulls in front of us here. Tell us about these skulls.
Okay, well, we've got both our... the thing about these skulls that is interesting to note is that the size is not what makes one the black bear or the grizzly bear. Okay, we could have a huge black bear over here and a small grizzly here. So that's one thing that we don't want to look at as a size, just like a live bear. But and again, the dentation, the number of teeth is the same on both grizzlies and black bears. So
this one is which one?
This is our grizzly or brown bear here.
So this is
now, one thing that's very interesting to note, though, one thing you could, if you found a skull in the woods, look at to tell if was this a grizzly or a black bear, is actually this ridge right here. That's the anchor point for the jaws. And when it comes to jaw strength, the grizzly bear or brown bear has a stronger jaw strength than the black bear because of that anchor point. That anchor point allows for more muscles to be involved with the jaws. So that's one thing you can look at a skull to determine what type of bear it is the anchor point, the ridge right there. So those are interesting things to look at with a bear. The other thing is, when we look at a bear, we take note of the way the skull is constructed as far as what's going on here, the nasal cavity. This nasal cavity is full of membranes that allow the bear to have an incredible sense of smell. And the other thing it does is that hooks right into their brain. So when it comes to grizzlies and brains and smell, it's a direct pipeline, so to speak, where other nerves have to follow a more circuitous route, and so bears have a fairly high threshold for pain, physical pain, except when it comes to their nose. That nose is kind of the hot button to the brain, and that's why things like bear spray work so well, because they hit that hot spot, so to speak. Whereas bears, when they play or fight, can rip off each other's ears, and they can endure all kinds of physical pain, and that's why when you're trying to intimidate or scare a bear away, you want to go for the most direct route, and that's the nose via something like bear spray to make the brain say, hey, let's get out of here. We don't want to be around this thing.
Hi, my name is Rory. I am from Basin Elementary. My question is, how many pounds can a cub weigh?
It depends what life stage we're talking at and what type of bear. We can go everything from a young black bear at birth of, say, half a pound. And again, if you compare that to a human, where the average weight of a human is 7 pounds at birth, but a black bear cub is half a pound, to the point when they're coming out of the den, they might have gained anywhere up to 20 pounds a little bit later on in their life. And again, while they're in the den, they're getting all that nutrition from their mother. So that's why it's important that the sow, the female, has plenty of fat reserves, because she not only has to have that young cub or cubs, but she also has to provide food for it until they can leave the den.
Hi, my name is Colton, and I go to Kamiah Elementary in Kamiah, Idaho. My question is, how many different kinds of bears are in the world?
That's a good question, Colton, and it kind of depends on whether, as a scientist, whether you're a lumper or a splitter. Some guys like to tease out and say there's all these different types of bears out there, and other folks say, no, these bears are close enough in size and shape and characteristics that they are really the same species. So, but here in North America, for instance, we've got 3 different species of bears. We've got the black bear and the grizzly bear, both of which are found here in Idaho. And we also have the polar bear. And then if you go around the world, there's a bunch of different species of black bears. There's the spectacled bear. There is the help me out, Greg.
Sun bear.
There's the sun bear.
Sloth bear.
The sloth bear.
Get your panda, which is not a black.
The panda is not a, and some people think the panda is a bear, and other people say no, the panda is not a bear. So your question's a tricky one, but the safest thing is to say here in North America, we've got 3 species of bears. That we know for sure: the polar bear, the grizzly bear, and the black bear.
Hi, my name is Viviana, and I go to Kamiah Elementary in Kamiah, Idaho. My question is, how many years can bears live?
Well, it depends on the type of the bear we're talking about as far as how long they can live. Ideally, either species that we have in Idaho, the black bear, grizzly bear, can be into the late teens or early 20s. But a lot of times you actually have to break down the sex of the bear, because certain bears, again, females with cubs, may have a hard life raising those young cubs, so they may not live as long. Young male bears have to compete with the older bears, so they may not live as long. So there's a lot of what we call natural mortality that does occur within bears out in the wild. So when you throw out a number, you're talking a very approximate number, but when you start breaking it down, there's a lot of interesting little nuances there as far as the age of the bears and how long they survive.
Hi, my name is Jesse, and I go to Kamiah Elementary School in Kamiah, Idaho. My question is about how many bears live in the state of Idaho.
Jesse, we've got about 20,000 black bears living in the state of Idaho, and about 100 grizzly bears living in the state, between the 3 different populations of grizzly bears that we have here.
Hudson would like to know, how fast and how long can a bear run?
Well, when it comes to running, bears are a lot like people. It depends on the condition you're in. But as far as a burst goes, easily black bears and grizzly bears can get up into the upper 20s and even mid-30s miles per hour in a burst. But that's not something they could keep up for more than, say, a few hundred yards. After that, it's just too much exertion. And again, when you're a bear, it's all about energy. And so they're going to, that burst speed is top speed, and it can't be maintained for a long time.
You know, I'm sorry, gentlemen, we've run out of time. My thanks to Greg and Evan for answering our questions. We appreciate you doing it.
You bet.
If you want to learn more about bears, check out the D4K website. You'll find facts, links, games, our Bears broadcast show, and lots more. And every week, check out my blog for the latest science news for kids. Thanks for joining us here on this D4K Web Only.